Today we are making 1 loaf of sourdough bread. I'm gonna break it down for you easy step-by-steps and give you a couple options on the hydration levels that you can do for your loaf of bread. We are gonna start by taking our bowl, placing it on our scale. We wanna make sure the scale is in grams and that it is zeroed out or you would push tare on your scale. From here, I'm gonna take my active sourdough starter. We can see I fed it last night. It is more than doubled in size. I'm going to put 50 grams of my sourdough starter in my bowl. So for your hydration levels, I'm gonna give you 3 options of water to use. First is gonna be the lower end, and that's gonna be 325 grams of water. This is gonna be known as a low hydrated loaf of bread. It is gonna create a tighter crumb. You have then a 350 gram water option. This is going to create kind of a middle of the line, a little bit tighter, but not completely open and airy crumb. And then you have 375 grams of water, and this is gonna create an open, airier crumb in your loaf of bread. So today we are gonna we're gonna do 375 because that's what I do and that's what I like. So 375 grams of water. If you've noticed, doing a higher water hydration in the past has created a more sticky or it seems unmanageable for you, try the 350 first and then work your way up from there. You can also use warm water or you can just use room temperature water. That's what I use. Personal preference. If you use warm water, it's gonna go through the bulk processing time a little bit faster. So I'm just gonna mix up the starter in the water real quick. From here, I'm gonna put my bowl back on my scale and now I'm gonna add my bread flour. Bread flour is the best option to use. It has a higher protein content, creating a better loaf of bread. And I'm doing 500 grams of bread flour. From here, we're gonna mix this up with our dough whisk. You can also use your hands if you would like. Once you get all that flour incorporated in your bowl, Alexa, set a timer for 45 minutes. Our 45-minute timer is up, so now it is time to add the salt and do our first stretch and fold. Bet you thought I forgot the salt. We're gonna add 10 grams of salt. And from here, I'm gonna take my hand and get it wet, and then just dimple in the salt. So we're just dimpling that salt in and working it into the dough. And then we'll go around with all of our stretch and folds. So lift the dough up, stretch, and then fold it into you. Turn the bowl, next side, stretch, fold. I like to try and go around twice. Now I'm gonna cover the bowl and let it sit for another 30 minutes. It is time for our next stretch and fold. You wanna get your hand wet prior. We're just lifting the dough up and folding it towards us, going around the entire bowl. Then we're gonna cover. And it will sit for another 30 minutes. Alexa, okay, we're back for our third round. This is when I like to do coil folds. You can continue stretch and folds for the third and fourth round. I personally do coil folds, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get my fingers wet, 2 fingers, and I'm gonna lift in the middle and use the tension from the bowl of the dough sticking to it as your stretch. And then I'm gonna set it down. I'm gonna turn the bowl and do the same thing. 2 fingers, lift, and set it down. We're gonna do that again. 2 fingers opposite side, and here, It's gonna be a little bit more tight of a ball, so you can kind of just let gravity pull the dough down. You're wetting your fingers. You can also lift it and pull the dough kind of out. Don't rip it, but to also give it a little bit of stretch towards the end. We're gonna cover and let it sit again. Alexa, set a timer for 30 minutes. We have made it to our last stretch and fold. And it is another coil fold, 2 fingers. Lift the dough up, set it down, turn the bowl. Lift 2 fingers, let gravity pull the dough down. The dough should be nice and soft right about now and pillowy, wet. Turn the bowl 1 more time around, and again, you can hold the top and kind of let gravity pull it down. Be careful not to let the dough rip. Set it down. Again, I'm just doing 2 fingers. You don't want to get all your hands in this because we don't want the dough to be sticky and stick to your fingers. Set. Now we're going to temp the dough. My dough is around 74 degrees. So therefore, I'm going to let it go about 6 hours on its full rise. I'm going to write the dough temp down. And so around 4 o'clock is when I'm going to want to pre-shape my loaf of bread. If you were interested in my dough temp cheat sheet, it is available on my website, doughmamatexas.com, and it is under digital downloads. It is 4 o'clock. Our dough looks to be done. I'm seeing signs of bubbles and a nice glossy finish. You can also do the poke test where you stick your finger in, but just gonna do a couple coil folds to kind of give the dough back some shape after it fell out of the bowl. I'm gonna let it sit for about 30 seconds and then we can start the shaping. I'm gonna take the dough and flip it over. I'm gonna lift the top 2 corners and kind of shake, pull it out. Bottom 2 corners, shake, pull it out. And I'm gonna start with the middle and then the top. And I'm gonna make a rectangle with my dough. I would tell you at this point, if you wanted to add any inclusions, you could do that by sprinkling them in the middle and folding them in. Otherwise, we're gonna go into our pre-shape. So I'm gonna take the bottom and fold it up a third. And I'm gonna fold the bottom 2 corners into the middle. From here, I'm gonna take the very top middle and I'm gonna fold it down to the bottom. And then the top 2 corners, I'm gonna wrap into the middle. So it's kind of like a little baby swaddle. And then I'm gonna wrap the middle again. From here, I'm gonna take the dough and I'm gonna slowly roll it forward. And then I'm gonna start my shaping. Just turning at a 45 to 90 degree angle and then pulling the dough back to myself. Building just a little bit of surface tension, and then I'm gonna set the dough to the side. I'm gonna let this sit for 30 minutes, then we're gonna shape it again. Top side goes down. I'm gonna just do a little envelope fold in 2 times. Roll the dough. And then again, I'm just gonna shape it by pushing it forward, turning at a 45 and tucking the dough under. Just a few times. We don't want the dough to rip on the top, so you don't wanna overwork it. Plus, when you start to overwork it, the dough starts to get warm and then it kind of becomes more of a soupy mess. So, a few times, done. Leave it alone. I'm gonna drop this straight into my silicone bowl to try something a little different. And then I'm just gonna stitch the top of it closed. This is gonna go straight in the refrigerator for about 12 hours. You could do less if timing didn't work for you that way, but I'm gonna let mine sit till tomorrow. It's 4:45 now, so I will bake this tomorrow.